Hello, guys, and welcome to the Fuel the Fire podcast. I am Belle Mee, also known as Body by Belle or BBB, and we are joined by a very special guest today. I am so excited about this. I asked Lauren months ago about this, didn't I?
Yeah.
Months ago. So we are joined by Lauren Rowley, who is the founder of Brides of Social, which is a luxury content creation company specialising in weddings. So today we have like a jam-packed agenda. We're going to be talking business, all about kind of Lauren's journey to growing Brides of Social. We're also going to be talking, of course, about weddings and trends and everything in between. So it's going to be amazing, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And Lauren, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, tell us a little bit more about yourself, tell us about Brides of Social, and we'll just let it flow from there.
Yeah, so obviously, hi, I'm Lauren, as Belle lovely introduced. And obviously now I'm a business owner, which is crazy to say because this was never on the agenda for me and just never something I thought I would see myself doing.
Yeah.
I've always been that kind of person who's cruising through a job role or just enjoying being employed. So yeah, it's crazy to say, but yeah, officially a business owner, a wedding content creator, also a freelance content creator as well. Yeah. But yes, I specialise in weddings, which is crazy. A lot of people don't know my job title. I think our generation do, but a lot of older people or maybe people who aren't on social media don't really know what a content creator is.
So tell us, let's start with that.
A wedding content creator is someone who works at your wedding and attends your wedding and shoots social first content. Yeah. So everything I shoot is on an iPhone. Yeah. So no fancy gear, nothing like that, just straight on an iPhone. And you will receive hundreds and hundreds of clips of raw footage that I shoot on the day that you can pop on TikTok, Instagram, anything like that. It's for the social girlies, really. If you are having a wedding content creator at your wedding, for me, you've kind of got to be like savvy on your socials.
100%.
If you're wanting to post your wedding on TikTok or Instagram the day after a social content,
that's the one.
A wedding content creator is for you.
Amazing. Yeah. Right. So let's rewind a little bit because it's wild because we both, even though we work in completely different industries, we do have quite a lot of overlap with what we do. So obviously, one of the main reasons I really wanted Lauren on the podcast is because she's obviously specialises in weddings, and we have, oh my God, so many brides to be on Body by Belle who we are training and coaching to build amazing bodies so they can walk in the wedding dress feeling fabulous. So there's a lot of overlaps there, but there's also a lot of overlaps with our like careers and stories as well. So both Lauren and I were in the corporate world for a long period of time, weren't we? And then we somehow
us two in the corporate world
now, which I don't know how that happened. So tell us a little bit more about the journey, Lauren, from obviously we met at a company called Fox Group and we worked together there, didn't we, for a couple of years. Lauren and I also go way back because we didn't only work together. It was like, it's quite incestuous, really.
We're too close, if anything.
We worked together and then Lauren shot my wedding, which is incredible. We can talk a little bit about that as well because there's some funny things that I want to talk about. And I'm not crying.
And I was your bride, as in
all of them. So somehow then a lot of our Body by Belle brides, some of them we didn't even know that Lauren was shooting the content for. And Lauren would be like, "Wow, you look amazing. Thanks for being Body by Belle." What? That's crazy. And also I trained Lauren for 9 months before your wedding to get you in unbelievable shape.
And I was in the best shape of my life, can I just say? And I big up Belle to every person I know. If anyone's getting married, a lot of my brides I speak to 2 years in advance and they'll say to me, I just want to feel amazing on my day. And I'll say to them, I was in the same boat, really. I didn't want to drastically change myself, but I wanted to keep myself fit. And obviously then I ended up being your bride as well.
So there's lots of overlaps in our story. But Lauren, tell us a little bit more about how you evolved from working for a company, still in the same line of work, to then obviously naturally then being a full-time business owner and talk talk to us about that transition, because I think it's really interesting. And it also showcases when you've got a passion and a love for something, you can make it anything you want, right? So tell us a little bit more.
Absolutely. So from day dot, if we're starting from the beginning, so uni, I studied marketing, never really had a feeling that I really knew what I wanted to do. I think I fell into marketing because I love to be creative. And at the time we were making magazines, like it was, it was like over 10 years ago now. So I was into all of that. And then I actually got an internship at Boohoo on their social media team. And I was thinking, is social media something I want to go into? I don't know. I'm just going to go with it. And at the time it was just Facebook and Twitter. So I think I was just winging it. There was never really anything that I was good at, and I know that sounds a bit depressing, but there wasn't. I think it's hard to know what you want to do, but I was on the social team at Boohoo, and then Instagram came about, and my manager at the time put me onto Instagram, and I was like, wow, I actually love this platform. It's all about posting gorgeous photos that you've taken and videos and everything. And I thought, right, this is up my street. But I loved the idea of posting and scheduling the feed and everything, but still I didn't really like the strategy side of it. So I was still feeling a little bit lost. And then worked my way up at Boohoo on the social team, and then I moved over to a company called Fox Group, which is where we met. And then I fell into the role of social media manager. And that's when I kind of thought, wow, this is what I really enjoy doing. As well, it's when all sorts of content came about. So at the time, if you were on a social media team, especially at Boohoo, you were kind of just posting and just taking photos and all stuff like that and planning the feeds. But we weren't actually shooting content. I think that came about in probably around 2022. It was after COVID, and they kind of started introducing us on shoots. So we would go to shoots with photographers and videographers and shoot content on our phone, and it was more behind the scenes then. So we were kind of to the sidelines shooting that sort of content, and I thought, wow, I really, really love this. And it's the first time that I've ever been good at something. Genuinely, like, ever been good at something in my life. And I thought, wow, I'm getting into the swing of this. This is what I want to do. Obviously then went over to Fox, and I was shooting, I'd say 80% of my role was shooting content, whether it was over in the studio. We had an in-house studio. We had an in-house academy. So I was shooting content every day, and I thought, this is what I love. Like, I just, not tooting my own trumpet, but I feel like I had an eye for it, if that makes sense. I
feel like, you always had and I would always, especially in the earlier days of Body by Belle, I would always ask you, like, what's your opinion on this? On like, content. Does this work? Like, and you just did have an eye for what people wanted to see.
Exactly.
You know?
And what would trend as well. I think it's super important to know what content's going to trend, and you have these ideas and you put them into the videos, then you pop them on social, and they need to go viral. They need to do well. So I think it's the whole strategy behind how the content works as well. But really, really loved my job. And then I actually got engaged in September 2022. Me, I think. And do you know what I thought to myself? I got engaged. I'd booked my photographer. Wasn't really sure on a videographer at this point, but I thought to myself, I want someone there with an iPhone. I want someone to take my iPhone, because it wasn't really a thing then, a wedding content creator. But I thought in my head, I want someone to take my iPhone, shoot everything that the photographer's shooting on a phone, because I wanted this to post on. At the time, I'm not big on social media, but I had...
You had a decent following, didn't you?
On social media. And I wanted to show my followers my wedding day, basically. And I was like enjoying TikTok and posting on TikTok and posting videos. And I thought, I need someone there with an iPhone. So I was going to ask one of my friends who I'd actually worked with at Boohoo. And then I think because I was on Wed Talk then, you know Wed Talk. When you're a bride, you all of a sudden get all of this wedding stuff coming through. It's stressful. It's stressful because you're thinking, I want this at my wedding, I want this at my wedding. And at the time, wedding content creation was big in Australia and America. So I had seen it on TikTok and thought, wow, that's such a good idea. And that's what I want at my wedding. And I thought, right, there's a gap in the market here. And Belle, when I say I've never owned a business, I've never done anything like that. Never, ever, ever. And I kept saying to Ben, I've got this idea, but I actually don't want to execute it. I don't know how to execute it. And he kept pushing me. And it must have been around 4 months that I was back and forth on deciding whether I actually wanted to do this. And Ben's like, Ben calls himself, Ben's my husband, he calls himself my silent partner because he has given me so much
Big up
advice.
Ben, by the way.
Big up Ben. Yeah. He's the best husband, but he is my silent partner. I am so bad when it comes to businesses and knowing what to do and knowing all of that stuff. I'm just the creative girly with a phone. But he really pushed me to start an Instagram, start a website, actually put this idea out there and just see how it goes. And it was March 2023 that I actually launched it. And luckily Fox are amazing. Like they were supporting all of my little side hustles. Yeah. But it was always on the side of being at Fox for about 2 years. Yeah. And then when did I go full time? 2025. So Jan of 2025, I went full time with Brides of Social, and it's kind of taken off from there.
I remember, so 2023 was when I got married.
Yes.
And I remember you
because I'd only just launched that.
You literally launched it and I was like, this is fucking genius.
Yes,
like I'd never seen wedding content creation before. And I was at the point where I was like, I was toying with a videographer for ages, but at the time, we didn't have as much, like, we can go on to budgets and stuff like that, but I remember vividly, I was like, we were maxed out on our budget, and then you launched this, and I was like, oh my God. And I think I messaged you, didn't I? I was like, tell me more about this.
Literally.
And I was getting married that year. And I loved the concept of it. And to be honest with you, I have no regrets because we had our budget and I just couldn't justify. For me, when I looked at wedding videos, right? This is just my personal opinion, by the way, but when I looked at wedding videos, I always had this thing of like, right, I'm going to spend $4 or $5 grand on this one video that I personally would never watch again, maybe once. And then I would maybe post it on my socials. People would maybe watch it once. And then that's it. And I couldn't justify it in my head. But with you, I was like, this is way more me. Like I would way rather just have some BTS shots. And actually some of my favourite shots was shot by you. And it was just like the stars aligned.
Yeah, and I think you've put it perfectly there. I think it is a personal preference. So brides, when they get engaged, will start making these decisions. And I think you really have to ask yourself, what type of bride are you? Are you a content bride? Are you a video bride? Are you both? Because I've worked 80%
a lot of people
weddings
have both, don't they?
Alongside a videographer, and it definitely works. There's room for 3. So you'll have your photographer, you'll have either content or video or both. But I always ask my brides when they have consultation calls with me, potential brides, I'll always say, what is your preference? Like, what do you want from your wedding day? If you're not going to sit down and watch a 6-minute feature film, or you're not going to be into that, I'd say content is more up your street. If you are going to be sharing your wedding on social media, I am the girl for you. I think if you're not that into social, and I do always stress this, it's probably not, I don't know, it's probably not the ideal. If you're tight on budget, just go with a photographer. But I think if you're really into posting your wedding on social, as well as having that raw footage, I think if you're a girl or groom or a boy, whatever, that goes out and you're on your phone taking videos of everything.
That's it.
That is the person I want to hire me. For me personally, I go on a night out and I'm documenting the whole night on my phone because personally, I love to have that raw footage on my phone. I am such a video hoarder to the point where I say to Ben, I need to take a video of you because what if, what if Ben, I lose Ben one day? Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure you've got enough videos, babe.
No, I've got plenty of videos to look back on. But I just think it's important, to have that conversation with yourself as a bride and just decide what you want. And if you can have all three, then amazing. I had all three at my wedding because Ben was really adamant on having a video, and I think he just wanted that. And do you know what I mean?
I don't think Ant even knew what day we were getting married.
I can confirm I've met Ant, and Ant was just going with the flow the whole day.
He thought our celebrant was a wedding guest.
That is so Ant. Bearing in mind, I walked into Ant's room on his wedding day and he went, "Oh, are you all right?" He did not know who I was. I was like, "Hi, I'm Lauren."
Who had booked, what I'd done. He literally, the only thing he knew was to like be there. He had no opinion, no preference. He couldn't, let's talk. I think this is a good time to talk about budgets as well. I was going to leave it for a bit later, but I feel like it flows really, really nicely because I was actually thinking in the car because obviously because we work with so many brides at Body by Belle, it's still very much like my feed is still full of like brides dresses, less than what it was when I was getting married, but like it's still very, very, wedding dominant on there. And I was just thinking to myself, right, so when we got married, we had, a fair bit less money than what we have now. Yeah. And we did have a really, really strict budget. And I was thinking, it just gets astronomical, doesn't it?
Well, it absolutely
holy
does.
shit. Yeah. Like, I loved our wedding. It was an amazing wedding, but I wouldn't say it was overly flamboyant. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We had to pull back in a lot of areas. There was things that I wanted that I was like, do you know what? I can't do that now. And I was thinking to myself, if I got married now with more money, I would... I don't know who I would think I am. Yeah. I would think like I was Beyonce. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I would literally, I'm so glad we got married then when budgets were stricter for us because I would have no limit to this now. It's crazy, isn't it?
And it becomes ridiculous at some point. And I think a lot of the time, I know it's my job to be on social media, but I think a lot of brides see things on TikTok and Instagram and they think, I need
Lots
that.
of famous people getting married.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of famous people getting married in venues abroad, these extravagant venues. Yeah. And you get a lot of brides thinking, I want that. Yeah. I want that without the budget. And I think it's really hard to be brought back down to earth.
You don't have that budget, honey.
I was exactly the same. And luckily, me and Ben were okay. Like we knew what we were spending and everything, and we saved up for everything ourselves. We worked hard. We were working 7 days a week, 2 jobs, just to make that happen. But they are so expensive, and I think it comes to a point where we really need to sit there and think, who are we doing this wedding for? Yeah. It's for me and Ben, for example, you and Ant, I think it turns into a bit of a show, which is really sad to see. Yeah, but I think if you've got the money, you go wild or whatever. But I think a lot of people get themselves into debt or trouble saving up for these flamboyant weddings. Yeah. When in actual fact, if we strip it all back, it's about you guys as a couple.
Yeah, 100%.
And even as a content creator who works weddings, some of my favourite weddings have been your just normal weddings with around 50 people there or even less. I love an intimate wedding. So I think I'd say to brides who are stressing and worrying about big budgets, an intimate wedding is some of my favorites that I've shot. I think you see the love in the room, and I think as a content creator capturing that wedding, that's so important.
Some of your best videos have fuck all to do with the
decorations,
doves flying around,
or what you've got on your seats in the ceremony, or what stationery you've had.
But the videos that when I was actually preparing for the podcast, I was looking through, and like the most magical ones were the ones where you managed to catch the granddad, for example, or the dad, or
the first look.
No, do you know what? It's a really good point. And I think the point of this doesn't just go for weddings, but just social media in general. I think just be very, very careful if you are a bride and you are getting married. Just really bring it back to yourselves. Absolutely. And please don't be fooled by, like Lauren said, like people, personal finances, it's completely up to you what you spend your money on. But I think people, it's not all what it seems. And you've got to always remember that. And you're getting married to this person for a reason and just really align with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I mean, it felt like so much, and we were very similar to you. Like we literally saved everything we spent our life savings on that wedding. And what I would say is, you recover from it though, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it is one of the best days of your lives, but the more moments that I remember are with my guests.
100%.
Like my drinks reception.
Yeah.
I had a violinist. She was amazing, but I did not once hear that violinist play during my drinks reception because I was so wrapped up in my guests and my guests were all chatting. I did not need that. It was just an extra expense. And don't get me wrong, if you want a violinist, have one. But I was stressing so much about drinks, reception, entertainment. I was saying to Ben, do we need games? Do we need an ice cream van? A crate van?
No, the answer is definitely no.
The answer is no. Your guests are interacting. You've got a few canapes.
Just want a gin,
you've got the drinks.
And a chat.
Exactly.
That's all they want, right?
You need. You're going from guest to guest, and none of this even matters on the day. And like I said, my favourite memories are drinks reception, meeting with all the guests, or wedding breakfast entrance, when they're swinging around the napkins. I can't even remember looking at the tables and thinking, I'm so glad I had them charger plates, because I didn't.
I didn't get charger plates in the end. It was like fucking 500 quid for charger plates.
It's another expense. On the day, I can guarantee, I've been a guest myself, we're not looking at the charger plates.
100%,
we're not looking at all of that. It's lovely, but as a guest, you are more bothered about just enjoying the day.
Love that,
with the other guests.
And this is coming from someone who has been to hundreds of weddings now.
Hundreds.
You're very qualified to say this, because I've said this to a few of my friends and stuff like that. And obviously a lot of our clients who we work with, they get in a right tears about all the little things, and I can't stress enough, no one cares, and it doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of brides who come to the 6-month mark, to the wedding day, and they're thinking, I haven't got these little bits, or I haven't got these little bits. Don't stress about the little bits. I'd say one piece of advice from me: if you've got the money and you want to spend it, entertainment for your evening is so worth it. Just have fun. I would rather spend that money on the evening entertainment and your media team. Because they capture the day. Your media team captures that day, and those are memories that you'll treasure forever. I know both me and you had an expensive photographer.
We did.
And it was so worth it because I look back on my photos every day. I look back on my wedding video, and I look back on my content.
Emily Robinson did yours, right?
Big up Emily Robinson.
Stunning.
She's amazing.
And Laura Wade did mine, and stunning. You've done a few weddings with Laura.
I've worked with both
She's a
Laura
gem.
and Emily. And I think if you've got the money and you want to spend a little bit more on your media team, it's so worth it. And entertainment. Because that day, like I said, is about you enjoying it with your guests, and then it being captured in the right way as well. I've worked with a lot of brides who have rushed booking their media team and not really thought about it, because I think you get engaged, you go off to social media and you rush and you book someone. Take your time to really find a photographer, content creator, videographer that suits your style.
Vibe, it's so important.
Vibe as well. Because I think Laura shot your wedding perfectly, because it was you. It was you and Anne. And I think if you're not resonating with that photographer, you're not going to like that shot.
Do you know what's interesting? I actually did exactly what you said. So we booked our venue very, very quickly. And I do I don't want to say regret, that's the wrong word, but there's certain things that I did rush quite quickly, because I was in the whirlwind of we only saw 2 or 3 venues booked Eve's Hall. Eve's Hall was amazing. Stunning. The staff were incredible. So big shout out to them. But then I actually did book a photographer that was recommended by Eve's Hall. But the more I then got engaged and my algorithm started to pick up, and I was the more I understood wedding photography, I was like, this person is not my vibe at all. And then obviously I'm sure I inquired with Emily. Emily was booked
They're
already.
So Emily and Laura have got a very similar vibe. Emily, Laura, and there was a couple of others. But there was obviously just something that I was really drawn to. Laura was so classy. She's
but
such
also,
a beautiful person as well.
She's a fabulous person. And the more I got to know her a little bit on her stories and that kind of thing, the more I was like, this is the woman that I want at the wedding.
Absolutely.
So luckily, I did actually pay a deposit. But I was like, fuck it. Don't tell Anne that I've just paid a deposit. And then I ended up booking Laura, and thank God she was free. et cetera, et cetera. But I think taking your time with certain elements is extremely, extremely important.
I agree.
Let's talk about dresses for a second, because I think this is obviously, so the reason I want to talk about this now is because I actually met a client yesterday. Shout out to Anna. She doesn't mind me talking about her. She's tried on 66 dresses.
No, I tried on 15 and I was overstimulated. So 66 is just
overstimulated is an understatement of the year for Anna. We've narrowed it down. I mean, I'm even involved in the process at this point. So I know what she's
mom and you.
We've narrowed it down. But on the flip side, I think I went to one shop.
I did. The first one I tried on was my dress.
I went to one shop. I tried on about 6 or 7 dresses. Yeah. And I do think that with wedding dresses, there's this big hoo-ha about, everyone should be in fucking tears. I was not in tears.
Yeah.
I tried it on. I was like, I like it.
Decent.
Body looks pretty good. I'm in. And so
off.
I was like, it was very plain. I didn't read too much into it. And I think also you've got to be very careful because trends change so much that
I agree.
I got into not a tears, but like I'd bought my dress, I'd paid a lot of money for it. And then I started to question a year later when there's new trends, have I made the right decision, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
What would your advice be on the wedding dress and the selection process? And also if you've picked up anything in your time, obviously running Brides of Social, if you picked up any tips for women who are getting married.
So I've had a lot of brides. I'll go off past brides that I've worked with and they've been my clients. So they've said to me on our calls, so I'll probably have a call with them around 3 months to the wedding, and they will say to me, Lauren, I hate my dress. I'm currently at the alterations studio and I've had to have this taken off. I've added this, I've done this. And it's because they've gone with a trend-led dress. At the start. So I'm very similar to you, Belle. I had a plain dress because I knew that I wanted my hair and makeup to be very glam. Like we're glam girls. So I thought I've always been very minimalistic with what I wear because I love to dress up, dress this part up. But I think a lot of my brides in the past have gone for heavy detailing, trend-led dresses. I know at the moment it's the waist. Oh, what's it called now? I can't even think. It's not coming to me.
Is it? No.
Yeah, it's a dipped corset waist.
Is it? Right,
so that's trending at the moment, and I know that's going to be huge for this year, but next year it might not be.
It won't be because every year it changes dramatically.
So what I always say to people, don't go off Instagram or TikTok trends. Go with something that you really love and that suits your body shape, that suits your style. Yeah. I think me personally with my dress is my style down to a T. I am very minimalistic with what I wear.
And I knew even before I saw your dress,
because
I knew the brand, I think. Yeah. And I just knew that's what you picked.
You guessed as well. I had Jane Hill, by the way.
Yeah, it was dresses. Jane Hill. That was it.
But I just say to brides, just go with what you're comfortable with. If you love lace and you actually love lace, you've not just because you've seen it on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you love lace, go for lace. But speak to your wedding dress shop as well. I went to Isabella's Closet in Liverpool. She was amazing. It's her and her mum there. And I spoke to them over email beforehand and said, these are the styles I like. These are the styles that I could like. And she was saying, is there anything that you don't necessarily warm to, because we'll try that on as well. So I'd always say go in with an idea of what you like in your style, but also try on stuff that you don't know if you're going to like, because that could be the one.
It either narrows it down or you might fall in love with something, right?
And I think that's super important. And even though I went to one dress shop and fell in love with the first dress I put on, I would say go to a few, shop around a bit. I don't know if 66 is a bit excessive for our lovely Anna.
It's definitely excessive.
But I think there's a lot of pressure, like you mentioned as well earlier, about that people think they're going to be in tears when they try on. I was not in tears. I'm not a crier. I'm not emotional. She just put the dress on and I thought, wow, I look amazing. I love that. Yeah, sign me up. And I thought, I think if you get that sort of feeling that you think, this suits me, suits me, not just because, I think if I would have put a lace trend on, because lace was trending in 2024 when I got married.
It was, it was.
And I think long lace sleeves was, I've never been a sleeves girly. So if I would have gone in there and said, I want this dress because I've seen it's trending, I wouldn't have felt comfortable on my wedding day. So my one piece of advice would be just go with what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I think, and also don't forget that everyone has got a very different body type. So you might see a gorgeous, very, very slim build, straight up and down maybe, wearing a certain style of dress. But actually, if you're like a bigger bust or you've got a bigger bum or whatever, like it's not going to suit you, and you can't go with the trend. I remember very vividly, I was like, right, I work very hard on my bod, so I want it out. You know?
And you looked amazing on your wedding day. I remember your dress was so
just plain,
minimal, and I think your body looked amazing. I
tried dead hard before,
and the veil was stunning. Your hair was stunning. So if you are a minimal girly like us, you can just go dress minimal. Those dresses and they look classy and they'll never age.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I look at my dress now and I'm like, it wasn't on trend, and I could probably still wear the dress this year, and it would it wouldn't be out of place versus the trends. I think also with a plainer dress as well. Don't forget, I actually spent a lot of money on my veil because I was like, right, my dress is very plain. I was always a statement headpiece or earring kind of girl. So I don't really wear statement earrings now. Maybe it was a phase. But I wore like big white earrings, and then I had a really, really big veil with which was a real statement piece. So a lot of people that I speak to don't necessarily remember the dress, which I'm fine with. They remember, they go, oh, that veil.
Yes.
So again, you don't have to just be you guys, you know, and what we selected was very much us at the time, wasn't it? And that's why it worked so well.
I'm so glad I did that. And like you mentioned, it is body type. Like, I'm part of the itty bitty titty committee. So I tried on a few like love heart, sweetheart necks, and I thought that would suit me, but obviously it didn't. I look like a boy. So I think just go with whatever suits you and your style.
100%.
But try a few on. Try a few on, and don't be scared if you've not had that crying feeling, because
100%.
not everyone's going to get that.
100% agreed. I would love to hear a little bit more about any real struggles that you've had within the business over the past couple of years. Is there anything that stands out to you, or anything that you've been like, oh, that was a tough time?
Yes. So last summer for me, it was my first year full time.
Oh God,
and that's very overwhelming in itself. I think going from full-time employment to then being self-employed, not a lot of people talk about this, but it's heavy, a shock to the system.
Heavy.
It is a shock to the system in terms of that I was sitting at home some days and thinking, I should be doing something. I've not got enough work on, because I'm so used to being in full-time work and working 9 till 5 non-stop. And it was very busy at Fox. So I think you're used to that sort of working. So I think it was a shock to the system anyway, but Ben was a great support, and he guided me through it, and he said, you take this time to do your thing and we'll just go with the flow. But then it came to summer, and I think because I've been doing this part-time on the side of my full-time job, I obviously took it seriously, but I didn't have the right kit. I didn't have the right prep for a wedding. I wasn't sending out proper questionnaires. So I think I got to a point in summer where it got so busy, I'd not got a proper system in place. I hadn't got an invoice system, hadn't got any of this. So I got to a point where I nearly had a breakdown because
we've all been
there was so much going on, and I was sending out paper invoices, paper contracts, and it just wasn't working for me. And I can remember I went to a wedding in summer, and I'd had this stupid backpack, like just a normal backpack that I hadn't even thought to myself, I need a proper kit bag. So I was going to weddings with this little flimsy backpack, and I think on that summer day, it was red hot. I hadn't got a fan, I hadn't got my gimbal, proper kit or anything. I was just turning up, just like, hi, I'm ready to shoot a wedding, and I just wasn't prepared for that summer. And that summer kicked my backside because it kicked me into shape and thought, you need to get your arse in gear now. Like, you have not got a proper system in place for bookings and all of this. So I think that was really a big slap in the face. And I think because like I said, I've been doing it part-time, at Fox, I think it was my second job.
Yeah,
even though it was my baby, I had to put it to one side. And you can probably relate with Body by Belle. The systems now that I've got in place after that first summit, like it's immaculate. And I'm not even just saying that, it's so smooth. Even my inquiry, from inquiring to booking to then the wedding to sending out the questionnaires, it's flawless. It's flawless. But it took me that busy summer where I had about 7 weddings in 9 days in May. It took that to think you need to sort this out because you are going to end up in a hole where you can't come out of. And these are people's like, this is the most important day of people's lives that I'm working at. I needed to get everything in gear. And speaking of that as well, I was booking weddings left, right, and centre with no actual plan. So I think I had a wave of bookings come in over 2024 when I first started, and I was booking them in. I'll do that.
Not looking at your actual calendar.
At my calendar. And for example, I had 7 weddings in 9 days, and I was exhausted.
Oh my God.
And I look back and I think I was turning up to these weddings on very little sleep. So now I have a system in place where I've been felt fortunate enough that I have grown bigger. I've been able to increase my prices to what I'm worth because I think I was doing really cheap prices and just taking on a lot of work. So now I never do a back-to-back wedding. I don't do more than 3 a week, and it works amazingly. I'm turning up to those weddings giving my best self. Because last year that was a real learning curve that I was turning up exhausted and I was like rushing through edits and I just, it wasn't great, but it's too... Everyone says the first year of owning a business you learn.
Mate, it's like
so much.
It was the exact same with Body by Belle. So we got to a position where, and I think the problem is like, when you've gone from being salaried for so long, you know, you've got your income coming in every single month, and then suddenly you are on your own. It's you either do it or you don't. I think that's probably why we would undervalue ourselves and we would book everything. Same with me. I took on loads of clients. Did I have the resources in place to manage them properly with good quality? No. And you do get into that in the first year. I was the same. And then what happens is you realise, okay, I can't continue this way. And then you start to put in the systems. It's very, very normal. But I also think that you always have to go through those moments to then actually put in the proper processes, you know what I mean? And understand your worth, because you're like, well, no amount of money is worth how I feel on those times,
and
you know?
No one's perfect. I think people put this pressure on business owners that you have to know everything. You have to know everything about owning a business. We don't. No. We don't. And I think it's real life experiences that teach us more than we'll ever know about owning a business. If I didn't have those things go wrong in my first year, I still wouldn't have a proper invoice system. I still wouldn't have a proper process in place because nothing's taught me to do that. And no one sits you down when you own a business and say, you need to do this, this, and this, unless you go and do a course or you get educated on it. I didn't do business at uni, so I had no education
Sometimes
around
you just
that.
got to learn through your lessons, right?
100%. Exactly. You just got to wing it, and hopefully you learn from those lessons. But it really taught me some really deep lessons, but I'm so glad it has, because now my business is in the best place it's ever been, and I feel so comfortable, calm, and collected. I can remember looking at my calendar at the start of 2025 and thinking, how on earth am I going to do this? I had so much anxiety about summer. Summer was approaching, but now that I've got this in place, I feel so good about it. I feel ready. I feel ready to give my brides and grooms 100% because that's what they deserve and that's what they're paying for. So, but you have to learn. And,
unreal. Love that. So I would love to know if there's any moments that stand out as like the most emotional, or like, is there any big moments that you've experienced where you're like, I really remember that?
So for me, it's first looks. Like, I love a first look. I know you did one with your bridesmaids and dad. And honestly, they stick in my mind so much. I think it's such an important part of a wedding day. And I've said this to loads of people before, but I always stress to people, do that first look, because I think you don't get those moments back. But yeah, it's, I can remember my bride Jenna, love my bride Jenna, by the way. She's also a wedding content creator, but she got married in 2025 in May, and she had her lovely granddad come in and see her for the first time. And
was that the video that I shared?
Yeah.
And I could not cope with that.
It was the most beautiful moment, and her and her granddad had such a special relationship.
I've got shivers now.
Yeah, no, honestly, and I think I'd stress to any bride, just if you've got those grandparents there, just spend time with them on your wedding day as well. Some of my best footage that I've captured is brides interacting with their grandparents.
Yeah,
because,
I know. Yeah.
And that's why this footage is so important, because you're gonna, if you lose that grandparent in years, or hopefully years to come, not months or whatever, but you're going to look back on that footage and think, oh, I'm so glad that was captured.
I'm going to get emotional because you got
I got your nan.
My nan, who passed away in August.
Yeah.
And actually the content that you got of me and Momo.
Yeah.
I actually share, or no, don't.
Makes my heart full though, because
it's real. Yeah.
And when you shared that on social media and I saw that, I thought, wow, like that is amazing that I've been able to give that to Belle, because it's the movement of the footage and the fact that you've got that on your phone.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And when I was going through, like, I feel like you Momo was a very proud lady. So when she was getting a little bit older, she was like, oh, no photos. Like, she didn't want the photos because she was aging. And so I actually didn't have... You don't think about getting photos with your grandparents all the time. I did see her quite often, but you don't think, it's just not something that I ever did.
No.
So that content for me was so special, because we even got individual photos, and she had a very, very like rapid death. I don't want to bring the mood down, but it was very, very quick. I didn't have time to like gather any more photos or videos because she was in a hospice very quickly. Yeah. So that was like gold. And I always like those photos that you got of and the videos, that you got of the wedding are some of the only nice ones that we've got of each other. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But let's talk about the funny part of this now, because I don't want to sob for an hour.
We're going down, but lovely as well.
Lovely, but also too emotional for I don't want to cry anymore. But also on the flip side, guys, please don't be underwhelmed with the reactions as well.
No, absolutely not, because guys, I've had dads walk into that room. Literally.
Like, you fucking joking me.
I have had dads come into that room and they've gone, should we hug? And some people have gone for a shake. And I'm like, that is your daughter. What is going on? And I think it's absolutely fine, guys. And I always stress that to people as well. Yeah. You'll get dads that cry. You'll get dads that laugh. You'll get dads that bob up and down. Charlotte, Ben's cousin, Ben's uncle walked in and they were just both bobbing because they're very awkward people. And they were just like, hello.
So don't be underwhelmed, because I remember my dad just went, ha ha.
Well, that's your dad summed up.
I was like, there was no chance that my dad or aunt were ever going to cry in my eye. Like they are. I just knew that for a fact.
Yeah, that's another thing. Groom's reactions.
No, I'm like, come on, give me something. I think he put a fly or something away from his eye, and I thought for a moment, is he wiping a tear away? And it wasn't. It was like a little piece of dust. He was like, no.
And then he was back to, and I'm sure he went, "Hey up."
I think he said something like,
he said like, "Hey, you're right," or something along them lines.
Fucking hell, like
that. But that's Ant's, and Ant's a lovely man. And don't get me wrong, guys, 90% of grooms are not crying on that wedding day. I'm sorry.
Some of yours on your page are like, so beautiful.
Well, this is what's weird. Ben never cries. Yeah. So I had a fiance at the time who never cried, and I was saying to people, don't expect tears. Do not expect tears. He's not an emotional person. We watched Bloody Sister's Keeper or whatever that film is. Awful. My Sister's Keeper. No tears. Took Marley to the vets, the dog to the vets. Thought he was going to, no tears. Yeah. So I was like, he's not going to cry. And I walked down the aisle and he said it was the music and the whole vibe of it. And he was
I was quite shocked at
tears.
Ben's reaction, to be honest.
Belle knows Ben as well. He never cries, never gets emotional. Very just laid back sort of person.
Yeah.
Bit introverted. So those tears were a shock to me. But this is what I say to any of my brides: don't expect any sort. I think sometimes as well, the nerves that grooms must go through. If I was standing at the end of that aisle, the first thing for me would not be to cry. I'd be shaking. I'd be probably hyperventilating. So a lot of grooms are very overwhelmed, and you might get a laugh, you might get a cry, you might get a "Are you all right?" I think there's so much pressure on grooms for tears, and 90% of the time they don't cry. So do not be disappointed if you are if you're Belle and you come down the aisle.
Watching the video back, I was like, I'm not even going to post that because it was like...
He's just like, "Are you all right?"
Well, he did actually tell me, very recently actually, when we were talking about it, he did actually tell me for the first time, he actually did get a little bit choked up. I was like, you could have put a show on. Do you know what I mean? You could have literally one tear. But I feel like it's very, again, it's all about that reaction from Ant. I wouldn't have expected anything else. Do you know what I mean? So it was very him.
That's why we love him. And that's why you are in love with him. Ant is the nicest guy, and I've met him obviously at the wedding day and then other weddings that we've been there together. And he is the nicest man. But some people just aren't emotional.
No, 100%.
And they don't show their emotions sometimes.
Yeah, 100%.
Do not be disappointed, girls, if you don't get that sort of reaction because it's completely normal.
Don't forget, Lauren posts the most emotional reactions.
I do.
On the page.
People on my page, this is what gets me the lovely.
This goes viral, guys.
This is what gets me the views on that. But that's me for my personal preference of pages. But I've had lovely first looks with a dad where they've walked in and they've had a laugh and they've had a hug, and I think that's nice as well. They don't need to cry. My dad wouldn't have cried, so I feel like it's one of them. Defo. Just don't get your hopes up, and then you'll be fine.
100%. And what about any
what are you going to say? I'm nervous.
I'm just intrigued to hear if you can disclose any weddings that have been absolute utter chaos. Where you'd be like,
so
what the fuck is going on?
I'm not going to say names, but this person wouldn't even mind me saying names, but I'm going to keep it off. But I had a wedding where the groom was actually more
Susie and
Christian. I love them to bits.
I was at this wedding and Susie is one of my best friends. And she'll love being mentioned on this podcast. And do you know what? Christian is like the Beyonce of the magic cards world.
Guys, Christian and Susie are the nicest people. They are the funniest people. And I remember turning up on that wedding day not knowing what to expect because they are them type of people where their life is just like a movie. Everything's going on. And Susie had made all the dresses and I thought, this is going to be a good, entertaining wedding. I was so excited. And me and the photographer got there. And we went up to Susie and she was so chill. And I thought, she's super chill. I thought, this is great. I thought Susie would be like going mad or whatever, like running around. But she was super chill, lovely, lovely vibes. Then we went over to the groom, Christian. We went over to the groom and he came up to me and the photographer and he was like, right, I've got a shot list. I know what shots I want to get. And guys, grooms never do this. Love Christian to bits for this because grooms just never get involved. Like they never, a lot of the time brides will have a mood board, but Christian knew what shots he wanted.
Oh, Christian knows what he wants.
I love that. He was high maintenance. He was like, girls, have you got this shot? Have you got that shot? He kept us in place. He kept us in check. And he is the funniest groom because he was coming up to us in the day going, are you okay, girls? Have you got your shots? Have you done that? And we were like, yeah. He kept us in check that day.
He just runs it, doesn't he? Yeah, he runs the show.
That was the first time that I've ever had a groom be more in charge than the bride. And you know what? Good for him.
In that relationship, because I know them a lot on a personal level, it's very much like that. Like Christian is like, I have got this shit together. Like, we mean business here. And Susie literally just like...
Susie just goes with the flow.
Susie, she's a creative, isn't she?
She's a creative.
So,
one of the best sewers in the world, in
she's
my
amazing.
eyes.
Yeah.
She's such a creative and her mind's like all over the place. Christian's there to keep that in place. He's running the ship.
Yeah.
And I remember he came up to me and he went, Lauren, do you know what song you're putting over the highlight reel? And I was like, yep, I've got it down. But guys, grooms just never do this. And I thought, you know what? It was hilarious, but also amazing.
It was a really good wedding. It was I remember looking around thinking.
We were laughing. We were looking at each other throughout the day thinking, is this really happening?
Wild.
This is wild. And that sums up what we were talking about earlier. Be your true, authentic selves on their wedding.
They had such a strict budget, and if you know anything about Christian, he is a man with a budget.
Yeah,
he's got a spreadsheet. He knows what he's spending.
Yeah.
He will negotiate on every fucking thing. Trust me. And I remember like looking around thinking, this is so mad, but so expected because I know them so well.
Yeah.
Susie's mum did all of the decorations.
Yeah, for the flowers.
Susie told me, like, imagine my face when Susie tells me that her mum's been travelling around charity shops for 2 years, gathering pom-poms, gathering vases, gathering, what's it called? Bunting. And I thought, oh my God, they did that all themselves. When I asked Susie about, like, simple things like, it might have been, like, cutlery or, like, even invites, she was like, napkins. She was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's 2 months before the wedding. And she was like, nah. She was like, it'll be sound.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be, and they had such, honestly, a strict budget. Like, they wouldn't spend money on anything, basically. Yeah. And it was fabulous.
It was one of the best weddings, guys. And if you go on my page, look for Susie and Christian, they're on my page. I posted their wedding, and it was one of the most funnest weddings I've ever been to. And that's because they were so authentically themselves.
Just funny.
It was amazing.
I think his best mate was the celebrant,
yeah,
right?
He was.
And Christian was like, I'm not spending money on a celebrant.
And there was for the, so Christian's into magic.
Yeah.
Amazing. Check out his page because he's actually
Still
famous in the magic world.
Yeah, he is.
Their seating plan, everyone was it magic houses or cards or something along them lines?
And then they had flags under the chair when they played Mr. and Mrs. at the altar.
And they were all,
didn't they?
Yeah. In the ceremony, they were waving green and red flags.
Yeah.
And it was just one of the best weddings that I've been to from the pure fact that everyone was having the best time of their lives.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
No one knew where to go.
Yeah, everyone was just doing their own thing. Like, it was just, and do you know what? Susie and Christian looked like they were having the best day of their lives.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever thought, I regret actually not having a huge, but I don't think they ever regretted anything because they were themselves and it was beautiful to watch.
Unreal. I love that.
But one of the most memorable weddings I've ever been to.
100%. One of the most memorable. I actually think the most memorable wedding. Because every other wedding that I've been to has been quite similar. Beautiful, but quite similar.
So similar.
That was just wildly different.
And I think
100%.
if you look at their video, loads of people commented underneath saying, this is so you guys.
Yeah,
and
it was. It really was.
I worked with a girl called Molly, a photographer there, and we still speak to this day about that wedding.
Yeah.
And
I remember looking at your face and you were just like,
wow. I was like, wow.
I was like, I warned you, Lauren.
Yeah.
I warned you.
Big up Susie and Christian.
Big up Susie and Christian. Very good friends of mine and absolutely mental.
Yeah.
So, amazing. Right. I would love to speak about your personal journey as a bride because obviously I own Body by Belle, and we coach women with their fitness, health journeys. Typically speaking, with women before the weddings, we help them lose weight, tone up, etc. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your journey because when you came to us, you were like, right, you didn't hate your body, which is a lot, which is typically what we work with. We work with women who don't despise what they see, but you knew you wanted to level up and you wanted a certain look for the wedding. So talk to me a little bit more about that process.
Yeah. So I think I got in touch with Belle. It was the year of my wedding. It was January 2024. Yeah. And honestly, guys, I've been one of them that kind of cruises through life. I'm not overweight. No. I'm not underweight. I was just mediocre, but I actually never worked out. I just thought, I'm not big. I don't need to go to the gym. Yeah. I was always a size 8, but when I actually looked at myself in my wedding dress, so I went to go and try on my wedding dress, and a lot of brides will feel the same. This first wedding dress appointment, you might go there and think, oh, actually, I wish I looked a little bit better in this dress. And that was the first time I looked at myself and thought I could do with like just toning up to make myself feel better. And I was so like anti-gym, like I hated.
You didn't go to the gym, did you? No.
At all. Never worked out, which is a bit alarming just in terms of health because, and guys, my diet was was awful. I think I just had a fast metabolism.
Yeah.
So I'd always been like a size 8, but I wasn't toned. I didn't have muscle.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of realised that when I put the wedding dress on, and I thought, well, actually, I could look a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with Belle, obviously knew about Body by Belle because I worked with Belle. I'd seen it all over social media. And I just think your results really aligned with what my goal was.
Yeah.
And like you said, you get a lot of people coming to tone up.
Yeah.
And I didn't even want to lose weight. Like,
No,
I just wanted to tone up.
Yeah.
And I think I came to you clueless. Never been to the gym, never dieted. My diet was awful.
Yeah, it wasn't
Used
great,
to
was
eat,
it?
like, pasta, pizza, chips, nuggets every night.
You had a very beige diet, didn't you?
Yeah. And I always have growing up. So never dieted, never ate veg, fruit, nothing. So it was a shock to the system. But Belle I signed up with Belle and I was like, right, I'm going to give it a go. And she asked me to send over some photos, which is completely normal for you. You want a front, side and back. And my back was actually a little bit bent, I swear it was.
A bit hunched, weren't you?
Yeah. That's because I'd never worked out. I never stretched my body.
Yeah.
I'd never gone for walks. I never done cardio. And I could really tell in them photos. And actually, I was so miserable, but I didn't realise it. So as soon as I got into the flow with you guys, I noticed the difference straight away.
Yeah.
And you guys were amazing with me because I was starting from scratch.
Yeah, you were.
I had a really basic plan at the start for my workouts and I had my diet plan and my workout plan was really basic, but I went to the gym and I got it done. And your app was amazing because it showed me videos. I was like, what's a dumbbell curl? But I pressed the video and I watched, and you were so supportive of me being a first timer because I think there's a lot of anxiety about going to the gym, but
loads.
I think because I had the wedding, it was pushing me, and I had a goal that I wanted to get to. But I think it's so daunting going into a gym and starting for the first time. And I think if I would have done that on my own, I would have quit after the first month. But I think when you've gone with a trainer who specialises in weddings and brides, I just felt comfortable and at ease, and I knew that I had a goal that I needed to get done. So obviously started with you and seeing those results.
Yeah,
Sorry,
unreal.
I've never had a bum, guys, ever. I've always...
That was
Sorry,
something
can I say
that,
this? I had a pancake flat bum. And that was one thing about my dress when I tried it on. It was tight.
Yeah.
So... when I saw that, I thought, no. I thought I need to start toning up and building muscle.
Yeah.
But can I just say, I obviously did 9 months with you, but I still put all of that stuff into practice now.
Yeah.
My diet is amazing. I go out and get my 10K steps every day. I go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, not as majorly because I've not got a desperate goal in the end.
But you still keep it up.
I still work out. And I think that's the beauty as well as a personal trainer. Even if you don't have an end goal of a wedding, just do it to change your health and change your lifestyle and your habits. Because, guys, I was rocking a size 8, but I was so unhealthy.
Do you know what's interesting as well is, like, firstly, your results were incredible, but it was because why we love working with brides so much and why it's a real passion of mine is because having that vision, there is nothing like a bride. Like, if you are getting if you are getting married, I promise you will be more motivated than you feel.
And
like,
I think it's a good place to start.
It's brilliant because you've got that date and you know it's the one day where, I'm sorry, you have to feel fucking fabulous, don't you? And you have to feel like $1 million. And this doesn't mean to say you have to look a certain way. What I mean by that is you have to feel your best, most confident self. And if you don't, you've got to put the work in to get there. But I think what's amazing is, like, so you really, really put in the work to get there, and we worked really, really well together. But then also, you did have age on your side when you were that size 8. I guarantee if you'd have carried on with those poor habits, you'd hit your 30s and you would likely start trickling that weight on. And that's where we catch a lot of people. Like, a lot of our clients are at that point where they're like, I got away with murder in my 20s, and then suddenly, so you're well ahead of the curve now, because it is harder to reverse the older you get. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And I was never, I mean, I was probably Belle's worst nightmare. I used to think people who went to the gym all the time were weird, and I can openly say that. Sorry.
Cheers, Lauren.
No offense. But I thought there's more to life, but actually, you only have to go for half an hour, minimum half an hour. Yeah. Go and do that workout and you will feel so much better. Yeah. And that comes from me, who's never really believed in any of that stuff. But all of that information is stuck with me. But I'm so glad I did it for the wedding because, like you said, I was super, super motivated. Yeah. And now it's like instilled in me. Like I live and breathe like eating fruit.
I've noticed on you, so like even like you as a person on the socials, I can really tell that you live a healthy lifestyle now, which is exactly what we want. Like always we're not trying to breed bodybuilders over here. We're trying to breed healthy and fit women. You know,
I think there's a lot of people who you'll see people on TikTok saying, you don't have to get in shape for your wedding, just be you. But I genuinely feel like even if it's just eating healthier so your skin is brighter, like you will feel so much better for it. It's not about losing weight all the time. It's not because I didn't want to lose weight. I just wanted to tone, make my skin better because that is another thing for brides. I went through a huge skin journey because when you get engaged, they're saying you need to do this, you need microneedling, you need facials, you need this. And it's so overwhelming. But for me, my issues were from within. I had a rubbish diet. So the fact that I was glowing on my wedding day comes from going with Body by Belle.
I remember you saying that.
And have a better diet. My skin was awful, like so congested. And with your diet plan, my skin has never looked better. And that's why it still looks better now because I eat what I need to eat.
Your skin does actually look really good.
It's because, I tell everyone.
You eat vegetables, babe.
I tell everyone, sorry, before I went with Belle, my skin was atrocious.
I remember that.
But it was my gut health that was making my skin bad. So even girls, if you don't want to lose weight for your wedding, absolutely fine. If you don't feel like you need to do that for yourself, just do it for your health.
Yeah, 100%.
And just get better habits in place so you feel amazing on your wedding day, because my skin would have been horrific. And I'm just so grateful for that diet plan and just that change in mind as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good point because we actually had bride called, another bride called Lauren actually. We've had loads of brides called Lauren. Jesus Christ.
Even when I did their wedding, she was Lauren and she was one of your brides.
Yeah, Lauren. And then you did Lauren Hunter as well.
All the Lauren. You have to be Lauren to get in with Body by Belle. Thank you.
That's crazy. But we had a client called Lauren and she came to us with really, really bad acne, but also really, really bad bloating, etc., etc. And the way her skin cleared up, and I actually did a post on this a while ago, and it's reminded me I definitely need to speak about that more because your skin will. No amount of facials, if you are not putting your gut health in the right position, I promise you there is no amount of facials that will get you the wedding skin that you want. It will come from within. And it's just so great that we caught yours on time as well, because you came to us 9 months before. Perfect timing to really implement those changes. Amazing. Love that. And you did look absolutely fabulous. I still use your photos. And also your hen do as well. You look slay on hen do.
What? The most comment, I have never had you look toned in my life, guys, but on my hen, people were coming up to me saying you look so toned, and I thought that was my goal, and that was so rewarding.
You looked so fab on your hen do.
Thank you.
I still look at those videos. You sent me one of like you put your shades on and you're like, look at my bum.
I've never had a bum.
Love that. Right, so I'm gonna go on to some questions that we had from Instagram. Okay,
this is exciting.
So put a little question box up, and there's some really, really great questions in here. So I think we've got time to go through a few now. First things first, nerves on wedding day. So one of our brides-to-be, she asked about nerves on wedding day because I remember so vividly, like, you know me, Lauren, I'm a very confident person. I can speak in front of hundreds or even thousands of people. And I'll get a bit nervous, but I can hold myself together, right? That wedding day, I was some nervous devil possessed me. I was in bits. So what would you recommend for those brides who are feeling the nerves now and who know that they're going to be really nervous on the day?
Listen, it's completely normal to have nerves, especially about the ceremony, because for me, I'm a very laid back person as well. And I had a lovely wedding morning, but when it got to the ceremony, I did feel a wave of nerves, and that's completely normal. My advice would be your wedding morning. Make sure you're surrounded by calm and collected girls, the girls that mean the most to you, and just surround yourself with people that aren't going to, do you know what I mean?
I actually kicked mine out.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No, you did.
I actually said, get out.
I need some space.
It's mayhem in here.
So a lot of people think a huge bridal party is the way forward. But if you know you're going to be a very nervous bride, surround yourself with the right people on your wedding morning.
Yeah, I love that.
And as well, your hair, if you have got a good hair and makeup artist and there's room in wherever you're getting ready, sometimes they take you off to a little room to get your hair and makeup done. I really, really recommend that. My hairstylist, Wedlocks, she was yours as well.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
She's so good. Shout out to Wedlocks.
Yeah, shout out to Wedlocks.
How do you say her first name? Is it
Mareed?
Mareed.
She'll kill me for this because I always get it wrong.
Yeah.
But yes, Wedlocks on Instagram. Yeah. She took me into a little room just while I was getting my hair done. It was 40 minutes, guys. I wasn't missing my wedding morning, but it really made me calm. And I think because a lot of people come up to you on the wedding morning and ask you questions, it's just nice to just shut that off for a little bit.
She was such a calming presence for me as well, actually. I remember being sat there and I was like, am I being a dick? I'm so sorry. She was like, you're not being a dick at all. And I was like,
calm.
I said, a really calming voice, like really just chilled voice. And I loved having her around me for so long. And I actually said, I can't have these people around me. The bridesmaids were just getting off
You've got a crazy bunch of friends, which is amazing. Like really big personalities.
Personalities.
I think if you can get, if you do have big personalities in your bridal party, if you can get at least half an hour to yourself on the wedding morning,
great idea. Great idea. Yeah.
And it'll calm
and I remember
nerves.
asking her, I said, is it rude of me to? And she was like, no, just kick them out. And then they went and drank Mo in the next room and it was fine. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Great tips there. Yeah. Talk about second dress here. A couple of questions around a second dress. So the question was, it's a black tie theme. Should I get a second dress? What's your opinion on this? Because I have an opinion on it as well.
I think if the budget fits, get a second dress, because me personally, I've been a bride myself. I loved my dress. I would literally wear it every day if I could. But I got to a certain point where I love a dance. If you love a dance, you're going to want to get that dress off when the time comes. But don't spend a crazy amount of money on it. It is not worth it.
No.
You are going to be dancing. Everyone's drunk at this point. It doesn't have to be this big moment of it. I'm in a second dress. Just get something that you're going to be comfortable dancing in and enjoy your evening. If you do have a very minimal dress, you might be fine. But you will get a little bit sick of it after a bit. I had a minimal dress, but I had a big train. So everyone was treading on it. I took my veil off, but people were still treading on the back of my dress. So I did have a second dress and I actually loved getting into it. And it actually gave me and Ben some time in the evening to get away from everyone, and he came and helped me put the dress on. And it can be a little cute moment if you want your media team there to capture it, but don't go spending hundreds on it because
agreed.
It's just it's not worth it.
It's not necessary.
No, you're getting drunk, you're dancing in it, everyone's drunk, it's not a big moment that you think it is.
100%. Yeah, I actually got a second dress, but I got mine from Meshki, so it was like 150 quid. And I actually got changed into it after the first dance because my mum was like, will you leave your dress on for the first dance? And then I went and got changed. I don't even think I have any photos in it, but it was just something a little bit looser. But by that point I was like, I can't
get
like
it off.
I'm not
And a lot of brides will feel that way.
So maybe something nice and cheap and cheerful, but something that you can move in. Doesn't have to be in a proper wedding dress. It can just be like another white dress, can't it? Amazing. Okay, lovely. And actually, all the other questions we've answered within the podcast already. So that is a wrap. We've basically been kicked out of the podcast studio. So,
because we're chatting too much.
So that's a wrap. We could have spoken all day, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us. I feel like we could potentially do a part 2 to this.
Yes, we actually could. If people have got more bridal questions, I feel like,
I'd love to do a part 2 to this because I feel like we could talk for hours about this. But thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome.
And thank you guys.
Thank you.